I saw Vin sent an article of regarding Tom Brady. So Tom Brady.
That's coming up.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming up. Well, it just is a reference to this one. So I don't know if you want to go right to it because I have a segue, a reference to it. So he has a football, the final touchdown football, which sells at an auction for $518,000, over $500,000, because of the significance of this football. Says officially he's going to retire. Mm-hmm. And then comes back.
He comes back.
Yeah. He comes back. So what happens to the significance of that ball? Well, it's not his last touchdown anymore. For sure, he's going to have a touchdown. Another one, which will become the new last touchdown. But actually, it might even be a fun story.
What?
I have his last football before his fake retirement. Uh-huh. It's kind of funny. I don't mind it either as a storyline.
But to pay that much money?
No, I mean, as a collector's item, the person is definitely hoping it is truly his last touchdown. They're not wanting him to come back. But they're probably a fan of his, and they're like, well, I get to see another year. And if they can spend $500,000 on a football, then chances are they have enough money anyway. You don't need to feel too bad about it. And the football's not worth $0. It's still significant, not as significant. But that's what the McDonald's reminded me of. Is like you go and spend $300 on a McDonald's paper bag, and then all of a sudden they sort it out, and McDonald's opens back up.
It's like, oh, great.
Exactly. It only works in the presence of these very specific circumstances, and then all of a sudden, like limited things. The limited nature of things is why the value goes up, right? This is the idea of these drops, and you know what I bought?
NFT. Did you buy an NFT?
Hell no. Let me tell you what I bought, okay? I was at the hockey store, and they had a limited edition collab. And I was conflicted. My kids had to convince me. I couldn't pull the trigger. My kids were like, you got to pull this trigger. And I was like, really? And they were like, this is limited right now. It was one of 500 limited edition hockey sticks. Austin Matthews, local Maple Leaf player. And it's a very special colorway.
Okay.
So normally the stick that he uses on a regular basis is called a Jet Speed. And the Jet Speed is typically black and red. But since he plays on the Maple Leafs and he's sponsored by CCM, his Jet Speed is blue and silver. Now, if you try to buy, that's an old Matthews stick. That's a Bauer. You gotta type specifically CCM Jet Speed. Austin Matthews, CCM Jet Speed. You'll see what I'm talking about here. So, nope. Because you're also going to get ones that, no, that's a Nexus. It's old. Nope. You have probably too many words in your search there. I would just do Austin Matthews, CCM Jet Speed. There you go. Anyway,
Pappy?
Yeah, that's his nickname. So if you look at the skates, the first in the top left over there. So this is the colorway, and these are only his. They're custom. Like I can't go buy these. CCM made it for him. Mm-hmm. And the same thing goes for the stick. It's that same silver, blue, and whatever. You can actually see pictures of him using the red version. So I think it's pretty new.
This one seems blue.
Oh, that's it. That's the stick right there. Yeah, he's holding it up. Anyway, point being is they released it for regular people to buy, but they only released 500 of them.
Okay.
And the store had like the last 12. There were 12 left. And I shoot right-handed, which is rare. I know that sounds weird because you're like, everybody's right-handed. But typically in hockey, since most people are right dominant, they want to have the top hand on their stick as their dominant hand. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes your other hand comes off when you're not shooting and you skate with like one hand on your stick. It doesn't really matter. The point is there's more left-handed shooters than right-handed shooters. So all those had sold, which I love when I'm looking for sticks because I'm right-handed. Oh, there you go. Now click on the picture with the card, the signed card. Okay? So I got the stick, and every stick of the 500 comes with that card hand signed in silver ink. And so I told the kids, okay, I want to use the stick. You guys can have the card. But the scarcity is what got me. They're like, you want number 311? We got 12 left. And I was just like, oh my God. And so what I did is I popped on to Sideline Swap, where you can trade. It's like eBay, but for sports equipment. And people already had the thing listed for $1,500. And it was $350, $359. And instantly people posted for $1,500. And other hockey stores had bought the collab and they had reposted for $700, $800, even in the store. So the scarcity thing right now, especially, seems to be extra effective. That I don't know what kind of market dynamics are going on. Our psychology relating to scarcity, inflation, gas prices going up, conflict, COVID. It's some kind of
club.
It's some kind of special concoction going on right now, where you want to belong. You want. I think maybe we feel like things are slipping away, and we want to hold on to something that feels special. And the McDonald's bag is kind of like that. I mean, in a different way. And other memorabilia, certainly NFTs, which we've talked about. But this one actually got me because I was like, I need to have some weird mix. I can't just put it on the wall. I can't just collect it to just collect it. I have to use it.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it.
You got it.
I got it, and I used it already.
Oh, okay.
I taped the stick and I use it right away.
How was it?
I love it.
Okay.
It's absolutely fantastic.
I'm glad we figured that out.
There was no way that I wasn't going to use it. The fun for me is in using it.
Yeah.
So, but scarcity, even you, who knows? If the Bronco was in stock right now and it wasn't a shortage, would you have ordered it?
Yeah.
There's something about this scarcity component. PlayStation 5s. We were just talking about PlayStation 5s.
GPUs.
Everything. It's this thing where you're walking down the street and there's a lineup and they're like, "What are you lined up for?" They're like, "The iPhone," and you're like, there's only 12 left and then they're sold out, and then all of a sudden you didn't even want an iPhone, but you're like, damn, maybe I do.
Why am I waiting in line?
Maybe I do.
Yeah.
Right? It's like walking past the empty restaurant. You walk past the empty restaurant, you're like, I don't know, the food must not be that good. You walk past a full restaurant, all of a sudden you're lining up. It's like, wait, there's an empty one right over there. But when you're visiting some next place, take a chance on the empty restaurant. Actually, probably don't.
Well, dude, man, when I was in Japan, I waited for a special ramen shop to open for 3 hours.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Apparently, it's a normal thing there. Not 3 hours, maybe like an hour or two, but people do line up there for food.
Well, what do you mean there? I mean, even here. There was a time, young Lou, there was a time.
For what, brunch?
Yes, there was a brunch Lou when I had way too much time on my hands. Honestly. I would call it a negative amount of free time. I know that sounds insane. You're like, what is that? What are you talking about? I think there's an optimal amount of. This is up for discussion. Depends on the individual and however you interact with the planet and whatever works for you. But there was a time in my life where I would be willing to wait for some fancy brunch spot.
Yeah.
And I would line up like everybody else.
Was it ever worth it?
No, absolutely not. No, in retrospect, it was never worth it. At the time, what you really were trying to do is figure out what to do, right? And so you would find justifications. Because if you didn't have anything really going on that day, then extending the brunch experience was okay. Kind of like your Bronco investigation that went on for so long, right? It becomes the enjoyment. And the same thing waiting for the brunch is it's going to be so good. The waiting might even enhance it. But I started to imagine to myself as I ate this brunch after these long waits, I started to imagine if I was blindfolded and I was eating at a cheap brunch, like just a standard brunch with the toast and the eggs and whatever else,
You're in a warehouse.
It just like blindfolded, like a Pepsi challenge.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think there's that much difference between these brunches. What am I doing with my life? I could have been in and out, and I could have been, doing something with the kids or whatever. You name it. You name it. But everybody, you got to make these exchanges, and I'm sure there's some amazing brunch spot out there that's totally worth the wait. I'm sure that exists, but sometimes we can get a sensory overload by seeing this sort of mob behavior, and you see the lineup, and you're like, maybe I'm the one that's crazy that I don't want to line up. Look, they're all lined up. It must be incredible, whatever it is.
I must be the crazy one.
Exactly, and then you get in there and you're tasting it, and you're like, this is the greatest thing I've ever tasted, isn't it? You look across the table, whoever you're with, you're like, is it? Tell me, because I don't know anymore. What's real?
It's like, sir, can you calm down?
I'm like, no, I can't. I just waited outside, and I thought this was going to solve all my problems. Yeah. That lineup outside told me this is what I should be doing. Yeah, it's fun. Anyway.